Hey guys, this week's video is dedicated to the complete recovery of Masha Bas Batsheva. This past week we entered the month of Elul, the last month before Rosh Hashanah, the last month on the Hebrew calendar. And it's a very special month. The Alter Rebbe, the first Chabad Rebbe, gave the parable. Back in the day when you had the king in the palace, it was a whole to-do to get to see the king. If you were a simple farmer or a simple person, you had to travel to the capital, make an appointment months, maybe years in advance, put on your special clothing. Then you came to the palace. You had to go through a million rooms, past all the guards. It was very intimidating. You only had like a minute in the throne room to ask your request of the king. It was a whole to do. But when the king would travel, the king would take off his royal garb, put on his traveling clothes. He was less intimidating. He was riding through the open fields. He was passing all the farmers, and any person who wanted was able to just walk up to the king, and the king would greet them with a smile and say, "What can I do for you, my subject?" And he would grant the request. And you didn't have to get dressed or showered, or you could be in your farmer's clothes, covered in dirt, and you just had to approach the king, and the king would greet you with a beautiful smile. And the Alter Rebbe said, this is the month of Elul, a whole year when we want to speak to God. We have all these prayers that we say, and there's a whole way to do it. And if you look at the morning prayers, there's a build-up to the silent Amidah when we're in our one-on-one audience with God. It's a whole to-do. But during the month of Elul, the king is in the field. God is accessible in a whole new way. He's accessible in a way that he's not the rest of the year, and we just have to take advantage of that. If we just wave as the king rides by, we're missing an opportunity. The month of Elul is our opportune time to ask God of our requests. It's been a long year. It's been a rough year. And we're asking God for an amazing year in our life. We also take stock. What can we do more for this coming year? There's very little we can do about what's happening around us necessarily. But there's stuff that we can do in our own lives. That we can say, I'm going to be better in this. I want to reach my full potential. I want to do this better. There's a beautiful story I want to share with you that I think I've shared before, but during World War II, they had the Kinder Transport, which is the English government was able to take out, I think it was about 1,000 kids they made a deal to get 1,000 kids out of Europe and bring them to England. And the children, when they arrived, they kind of lined up, and the king passed through, King George, and he passed through in an open wagon, and everyone cheered and the children waved. And most of the children didn't know what was going on, but suddenly one of the children ran out from the line and ran to the wagon and jumped on. And obviously the guards came running, and the king said, "Hold on a second." He talked to him for a moment, and then they took the kid off the carriage. A few days later, this child's parents were brought from Europe to England. What happened is the child ran to the king and said, "Please, I'm from this village. Please save my parents." And the king pulled some strings and was able to get the parents out of Europe. There was tons of people there. But this child took the initiative and saw an opportunity and grabbed it and ran with it. And thank God it had a good outcome. We have an opportunity now to approach God in a way that we don't the rest of the year. So we should take this opportunity, make good resolutions, but resolutions that are within our ability to actually achieve. Don't, bite off more than we can chew. Take that step, say, this is going to be the year where we tap in to that next level of our potential to make this the year, the sweetest year, and hopefully the year when we finally have the ultimate redemption, and that's it. We're done with this whole business, and we'll be in Israel. Shabbat Shalom.